Hey everybody, this is Pat in the Cardboard Dungeon, and today I'm going to compare the brand new second edition of Cash and Guns, just out in stores, with the original version of Cash and Guns, which came out in 2006. Now, the publisher hasn't changed, this is still Repos, the designer is still Ludovic Maublanc, and the game itself is still very similar, but there are a few major design changes, mostly just to make the game more streamlined, easier to play. It also takes the number of players up to 8, where the original game went to 6, which is pretty cool. So let's start our comparison with the box itself. So right away you can see that John Kovalic, the artist probably best known for, in the board game world at least, Munchkin. He does all the artwork for the Munchkin series, at least the base series of Munchkin games, and several of the spin-offs as well. Also known for his webcomic, Dork Tower, of course, a big figure within the gaming industry. And his artwork is appearing on more and more stuff. I don't think I'd go quite as far as to say he's oversaturated, but we are seeing a lot of Kovalic artwork around. And this, it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of the cover, the box art for this game. I really like the original. Take a look at the original game here. More of a setting actually that's happening. You can see the different characters all under tables, behind desks, and in the middle of a big shootout. A little more detail going on there, whereas the new version we just have a red background with the characters kind of on top of it doing some different things. It's okay. Now let's look at the main component of the game. You want to compare the guns of Cash and Guns. So here's the new gun. It's black with an orange tip. This is the American release, of course. Over in Europe, I know the original game actually had all black guns, but we're a little more politically correct over here. And here's the gun from the 2006 version of the game. Now, these are exactly the same molds. The guns themselves are identical in size and width. So the only difference really here is it's a black gun with the orange tip, which I think is better. This is cooler. I mean, it just looks nicer. But, you know, these are going to work exactly the same as the original guns. So I'm going to give a slight edge to the new version for giving us a black gun, even if it does have the little orange tip. But this is going to prevent, you know, people from getting shot by police officers if they see them pointing a gun-looking piece of foam at them. That sort of thing happens from time to time, and it's terrible, of course. But this is a game played in a game environment. Don't run out on the street waving a fake gun around. Ever. Stay out of trouble. Alright, next let's look at the characters. So we've got little character standees in the new version. Here's Mr. Black. He's actually the only character that carries over between both of these games. Here is what he looked like in the original game. Original standees are just rectangles. New ones are little cutouts that cut around the character. Pretty cool. Also, the new characters are less stereotypical. There's some pretty blatant racial stereotype characters in the original game, like El Toro here, Mexican guy with a bushy mustache and a sombrero. You know, they kind of stay away from that a little bit with... here's Pedro. He's got the bushy mustache, but he's more of a like a Colombian drug lord looking guy this time. A few more female characters, which is cool. The original game only had one, and she was kind of questionable as far as bringing her out when you're playing with younger kids. Hardly wearing anything there. So this one has, we get Nikita. She's sort of a militaristic looking female. And this one here, Yoko, definitely, they're more covered up, which is nice. And a couple more guys here. But, you know, definitely they went a little more generic in the character design. But it's nice. I like these standees better than the original. I like they're cut out around the characters. They're bright and colorful, clean. So, good. One thing I do want to point out, though, is there's some controversy online. I've seen this sentiment in a few different places. People are complaining about this new version, saying that it's too cartoony and it's kiddie, and this John Kovalic artwork is making it a kiddie-friendly version of the game. Well, you know, I don't... This is the original artwork for Mr. Black here. If that's not cartoon-like, I mean, yes, sure, this new version is maybe a little more cartoony, but, you know, this is very cartoony artwork in the original Cash and Guns. It's not real gritty and dark. I saw somebody who said, oh, the original artwork is a lot darker. It's not. The artwork has always been cartoony in Cash and Guns. It's never been a very serious game. So yeah, second edition may be slightly more colorful or cartoony, but it's a pretty minor difference as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's move along from that. Let's look at the money. So here was what you were fighting over in the original Cash and Gun. These small little money tokens, cardboard tokens, real little. They came in 3 denominations. That was it. All right, so the new version has this nice pile of loot cards. Give you a little size comparison here. These things are big, which is cool. Long, rectangular, money. But not just money. So in here you've got things like famous works of art. That's a Salvador Dali looking painting, which is cool. Famous works of art, you've got clips, which can give you a bang card back. You've got some different diamonds in different denominations. And you've got some medical kits that can heal you. So a bunch of different loot, not just the straight money like we had in the original game. And they're big. These are cool, much better. Second edition gets the point for the loot cards. I like them a lot. Alright, let's look at something that they took out. Here's the shame markers from the original game. These you would get if you bowed out of a round instead of risking being shot. And these were negative $5,000 at the end of the game for every time you did that. Well, that was a pretty huge penalty because by taking yourself out of a round, you didn't get any money that round anyway. And then they further penalized you at the end of the game for doing that. Well, that's gone. That doesn't exist in the new game anymore, and that's a change for the better, I think. The cards that you play each round, the original game had 3. Bang, 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 and click. The bang, bang, bang is gone in the new version. We don't have that anymore. That was a card that just shot before anybody who played bangs. Now the shooting phase of the game is faster, so those are the original ones. This is all everybody gets. They get 5 clicks and 3 bangs. These are smaller cards than they were in the original. These are more like the Fantasy Flight mini cards. But they're also generic backs on them instead of like the original game. Each character had their own deck of click and bang cards. They did away with that, and it's actually for a gameplay purpose. When you play a card, it's going to go into a community discard pile, and if you get one of those clip loot cards, you can take a bang card from that community discard. So, pretty cool. I like those. When you get shot in this game, the original version gave you one of these little Band-Aid wound tokens, and it's the same thing in the new version, but the wound tokens are cooler. They're actually a little cross shape with the cross Band-Aids. Same kind of image, but I think these are neater. Point for the art on the second edition on those. And I think the last thing we're going to take a look at is the special ability or special power cards from the original game. Now this was a big complaint that I always had with this. So here's one. This is the Kid. And there's a bunch of new ones in second edition, but the Kid carries over. I just want to compare the two for you so you can see. So for these special ability cards, what we would do is we would pass them out, and then we would have to pass the instruction manual around the table so everybody could read what their ability did. Because if you're playing with special powers for the first time and you're handed this, well, there's an hourglass and a gun. What does that mean? I don't know. You can guess at it, but who, you know, it's, I mean, there's plenty of space on this card. Why didn't they just write a description of what the power does? Well, in second edition, they did just that. So here's the Kid. You actually get, it's kind of like a lineup picture on all of these, which is cool. And they tell you down here what the ability is. So, fantastic. Good job. Much better on the superpowers. Now you hand everybody one, they read what they do. Perfect. So, couldn't have been better on that. All right, so Cash and Guns 2nd Edition compared to the original game, which is better? Cash and Guns, I gotta say, first of all, let me say, one of my favorite games. We've played a ton of this game. I take it to, my wife's a librarian. We do lock-ins with teens and different school ages, and we've played, I wouldn't play it with real young kids, but with teenagers. They love this game, always a favorite. They ask to play it every time. We play it in my normal gaming groups. It's always a hit. Usually we play more than once each time the game hits the table, because it's just one of those games where you get through a game real fast and everybody wants to play again right away. Fantastic game. So I think that the streamlined rules, eliminating the bang, 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 is going to make it go faster. This new version, I didn't point this out either. There's also a, where did I put it? This Godfather desk. And this thing travels around during the game, and one character each round is the Godfather, and they can kind of put their character standee behind this desk. And basically what it means is after everybody points their guns, whoever the Godfather is can tell somebody to aim somewhere else. So usually you're going to use that when somebody's pointing at you. So it gives you a little bit of immunity. Not total immunity, because I have a feeling that people are going to have a tendency to gang up on the Godfather maybe. But who knows. But each round in the loot distribution, this desk token goes in with the loot cards. So somebody can take this when their turn to grab loot comes around, and then they get the desk for the next round. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I think that the 2nd edition is clearly superior, which is what a 2nd edition of a game should be, right? It improves on the original, takes away some unnecessary rules, some things that made the game maybe a little more complicated, some things that they just flat out did wrong, like the superpowers cards not having a description of what they do, and it fixes all of that. So, and on top of that, it increases the number of players from 6 to 8, and increases the minimum number of players from 3 to 4 as well, which is a good change, because it's not really a good 3-player game to begin with. They dropped the shame markers, which is good. They also dropped a variant game called like undercover police officer, where one character was sort of a traitor within the gang, trying to get a message out to the cops before a certain number of rounds went by. And that was kind of a cool version of the game to play, but it added extra complication to what really is a very simple game at heart. And I'm not going to miss it, I don't think. I mean, it was neat there, but there's enough good changes in this new version. And I think it might be cheaper, too. I mean, I don't think you can get the original version anymore anyway, but I think it was a $50 game when I bought it. This is a $40 game, and it has more stuff. More guns, cooler loot, better distribution of loot, better superpowers, more superpowers. Very cool. So, yes. If you're on the fence, if you own the original Cash and Guns and you're thinking about maybe picking up this new one, do it. It's a better game. And if you like Cash and Guns, and unless you just hate John Kovalic artwork for some reason, or if you're on that side that thinks it's too cartoony and wanted to go in a darker direction, that's fine. I mean, that's definitely your valid opinion, and don't buy it for that. Stick with the original game or do something else. But I mean, if the artwork doesn't bother you and you like the game, I think it's definitely worth picking up. All right, thanks for watching the Cardboard Dungeon, everybody. Talk to you later.